Okay, we are live. UCLA, Ronald Reagan Hospital, Westwood, California. Coming to you from my room, still here up in the intensive care unit on the 7th floor. It's been a couple days since I've done any kind of an update, and I wanted to at least check in with everybody since I've been real sort of, what's the word? Not avoiding, of course I'm not avoiding, just had set some boundaries this week, and wanted to still share my story, but healing from this surgery has been of top priority. Therefore, I haven't been doing too many updates. I actually have not been using my phone at all. It's been pretty much off this entire time because it takes a lot of energy to communicate with people, and talking and texting. I was trying to even text with Mary Lou yesterday, and the thumb action was creating pain in my chest. So I realized I can't just sit here and keep texting because it's annoying. And reading has been challenging because my brain actually is still foggy from the chemo, and now we've got massive surgery with anesthesia and a week's worth of some of the strongest pain medicines on the market that's still going through me at some level, and I'm pretty much in a state of constant fog. It's very hazy in my brain. Focusing on words is very challenging, so even if I have books to read and stuff, I can't really read right now. So I've said, you know what, this is the week that I get to just finally veg out, and I've been watching mindless garbage TV because that's something I don't do at home, and just allowing myself to talk less and be more and relax more, and just take this time so that I can get as strong as I can to go home, because now we're going into the rebuilding phase 3, hopefully, of this process, and this is where my body is going to really need its most strength. So for those of you who have been staying in touch, I have not seen almost any of your messages, to be honest with you. I have not checked any Facebook statuses that were posted by me or other people for the most part. And so I will, when I get out of the hospital and I feel more up to it and have some more time, I'll go back and read all the messages that people have been giving me and sending me from the surgery and the days I've been in the hospital. I know you're out there. I've been being told you're out there, and just that love and support that you guys have continued to generate for me while I'm here, the people who have been chanting for me and praying for me, all of you, seeing me through this whole process has been just some of the most beautiful human experience and connection I've ever had with people, and has really restored a lot of faith in so much of humanity, seeing how many people have come out of the woodwork with some of the most kind gestures and thoughts and help and support and all the awesome things. And of course, family, my family all over the world, supporting me in ways that are, above and beyond. And then of course my immediate family, Mary Lou and my parents, my uncle, who are all here now, my sister from afar supporting. We're all here rallying around me, and I really feel truly special. At first it was very hard for me to accept the fact that hundreds, if not thousands, of people are rallying around me, praying for me, giving support to me. I struggled with, do I deserve all of this? Maybe one person, a few people, but do I deserve the prayers of so many? And that was hard for me at first. And then, I really had to get over myself and say, yeah, I've earned that, and we've all earned that. Our lives of living, we've earned to have the love and support of the entire planet, actually, because we're all connected in so many ways that love and support for each other should be unconditional at all times. Especially seeing, caught a glimpse of the news, and I don't know, I didn't stick on it for more than honestly 30 seconds because I hate news, but I saw the headline as I was flipping the stations about North Korea and something. I mean, here we go. It's like, are we really about to start more war? I don't know. It's just fundamentals of love and respect for human beings has been lost, and it's still lost in so much of the world. And so we have to remember to focus on our own internal happiness mixed with our love and support for other people unconditionally, so that we can change this world, and faster than is happening now, because change has to happen faster, and it all starts with us. And that's just my sort of philosophical thought on, you know, my own journey in improving myself as much as I can through cancer and everything else. So anyway, guys, it's still a little hard to really push my voice. My lungs are not healed yet, and so therefore I want to give you some details, as Mary Lou loves to call it, and Brad Grumbrick so amazingly I can't even from the word explanation pointed with those t-shirts. Let's get to the biscuits and gravy. So I'm gonna fill you in, guys, and tell you what's been happening up to now and where we're at, and then we'll move on so I can rest and finish out the day. So here is where I'm at. You guys got some updates from Mary Lou. I did do a quick update the other day from my room here. I didn't give too many details. I'd like to share with you the details of the surgery now from what I know, as we're rounding out almost a week here at the ICU. I'm still in ICU. It's a special floor that's all cardiothoracic. It's lung and heart and esophagus patients here. And the staff, by the way, at UCLA, a quick side note, because the other hospital had been treating me really well, and this hospital is where I needed more intimate care, especially from the nursing staff, on a level, because I have not been able to bathe myself, wipe myself. I can feed myself, but I can't really turn over yet. Standing up and sitting down, I need assistance. That's just where it's at. I'm at a place now where my body is still very weak. My legs are very weak. My balance is not there. I'm doing walks, getting exercise, but I don't stand up on my own. Like from this chair, if it's time to stand up, I gotta ring the buzzer so I can at least get my nurse in. Now I don't need the whole, as they call it, lift team here, which I love when these guys come by, because they rotate in the floors and they're just these behemoth monster men who knock on doors and they do their rounds to see what nurses need help actually physically moving patients, and these guys are huge dudes. But I've only needed them a few times. Right now I just kind of need assistance. I'm doing more things on my own. We rock a little left, we rock a little right, and then we get a little assistance and we get up and we move around. So I did, just before doing this video, received a very lovely sponge bath from two very kind gentlemen here. Today was a very busy day. Before I go backwards to the details of the surgery, I'll kind of catch you up where I am now and then go back. I woke up this morning. I still had one major drainage tube coming out of the middle of my chest, which was draining and causing a lot of pain, but that had me going. I had three originally. I had one in each side. We just did the redressing, by the way, and I saw the holes, and it's freaking gnarly, brother. I didn't really want to see what I just saw, but I did. But this morning they determined that it was safe to pull the final tube out, thank goodness. So we did that procedure, and that got popped out, and we dressed that, and now all three major drainage tubes are out, which they hurt and they're sore and they're itchy, but those tubes themselves were like about yay big, sticking out in between my chest and rib cage, and they really hurt a lot. Nurses here say that those sometimes hurt worse than the actual scar and the pain from the surgery. So go figure. I also had been wearing a Foley catheter for a week because I've got an epidural in my back. The epidural is basically numbing from here to here, and this epidural, it's right up here next to me. We've got a numbing agent, as well as fentanyl is the painkiller. It's under lock and key. That's how strong this stuff is. Also in the other box that I have running through, I've got a couple IVs here. The one I've over here, I have regular fluids, and I have another pain medicine called ketamine. That's under lock and key as well. Very strong stuff. And it hurts to cough. And I don't know where my little UCLA bear is. That bear, I squeeze it when I cough, and it helps make me feel better. But when we just did our sponge bath, it got moved around in the room. Oh, there it is. I see it now. Too far for me to get. So those medicines have been lowered yesterday, and they were lowered again today. So we can wean me off of them by, the goal is tonight or tomorrow. I still do have my happy juice button every 12 minutes if I'm feeling any pain here, which I am feeling some soreness right now. I can go like this, and that means I got a little shot of fentanyl on its way through the eye, through the back, which is this other cord up here. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on here. Excuse me. Oh. Ow. So it's okay to cough, it just hurts like a motherfucker. Right, so that's kind of where all that stuff is. The catheter, which I was telling you about, they said they originally weren't going to remove it until they took this out of my back, but they determined that I was most likely going to be able to handle my urine on my own, so they did remove the catheter this morning, which was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. But I did pee on my own today, woohoo! Because they had said if I didn't do it within 6 to 8 hours, that they'd have to reinsert a catheter, and homie wasn't going to play that game. It wasn't bad. Like some people warned me that it was going to burn and stuff, but it didn't. So I got lucky with that. Also, I had the biggest. Now this is in normal conversation TMI, but since Justin shares his cancer, it's AI. It's just instead of too much information, I share all information. Therefore, one of the biggest factors if you've ever had surgery is that they ain't gonna let you leave the hospital until you've had a bowel movement because of all this medicine, especially this kind of medicine. They've been giving me all kinds of medicine every day to help my body go, but because of the surgery and all the heavy painkillers, I actually hadn't since Friday of last week. And this morning, after we pulled the catheter and pulled the tube, then the nurse came in and said the doctor needs me to give you an enema because it's at that point in time. So another new experience that I got to have today was an enema administered by a nurse. And then after that sat in for a little bit, the next new experience I got to have was actually sitting on and using a, what do you call this thing? It's a portable shitter that sits in, because I don't have a bathroom in here. It's a little portable thing you sit on, and that was a first, sitting there, which I ended up having to use twice this morning, and because I'm still all jacked up and can't do a whole lot, my amazing nurse had to take the responsibility that one would normally take when they're finishing a bowel movement up. And that, again, was more firsts that I haven't experienced since I was, hello, guests are coming, but we're still doing a live video, since I was a wee child, let's just say. So there's the humor, guys. You get to know all the fun stuff of what I go through. Hopefully you're laughing at least at that last one, because I'm literally sitting here in the middle of my room, flipping channels on the TV, while sitting on a little thing, only to finish up by pressing this button to call on my nurse so he can come in here to wipe my ass. End of story. Okay, so my appetite is coming back slowly. I am putting some calories in. I did eat breakfast. It takes me a while. I'm still nauseous from the chemo and from these meds, but I am getting some more calories in, which is good. Need that to help rebuild my body. And overall, the doctors and the team feel that I can leave here probably in the next day or two. So by tomorrow or Friday would be the latest to get the hell out of here. So that's the update from that point. Now I did promise that I was going to go back now and just fill in the blanks on the last details of the surgery, because we hadn't done that, and I know there were some posts about it that friends and family had made that weren't quite accurate. And hi, would you pour me a little of this water, please? Because I'm parched. I'm about to start coughing. And I was so some of what was shared wasn't exactly accurate, and so I'm here to give the accurate what the hell happened in surgery and what's happening next, and that'll be the final of this video, so I can rest and go about my day. So the surgery was Friday, August 4th, and we got in at 7:30 here or so, and started some of the procedures around 9:45. Hey, would you mind sliding that door shut for me? Thank you. About 9:45, we started doing some of the pre stuff. Got the epidural inserted. Got IV started. A few other things that we had to do, and to prep. And it took a while, and it was stressful, and there was a lot of anxiety was building as I was waiting to be taken into the room. And I think they finally took me in around 12-ish, a little before that. I'm not sure. It just seemed like it took forever. It seemed like we were waiting forever, and the longer I sat there, I think the more my anxiety was building, and they really couldn't give me a whole lot for that while they were waiting to do a lot of the things. So yeah, it was a little bit stressful. We got into the OR and we got into the OR, and they had to insert into my artery here to actually end with a big gauge, so they were able to actually measure my vitals through my artery. And that was when they inserted that, I was awake, and it was spouting blood all over my hands. And I was awake for a lot of what happened in the OR. I guess I was supposed to be for certain reasons. They needed me to be. When we finally put me down, they were masking me up, and I was getting injections of all kinds, and they were messing with the breathing and pushing, and they was trying to get me to go to sleep. But I was they were having some trouble getting me to actually go under at first, and they kept pushing it harder on my face and telling me, to just breathe in, and I was having problems letting go, and I was feeling claustrophobic, and I felt like I wasn't getting any air despite the fact that I was getting lots of air. And so despite some of the panic, I did try to relax myself, and I started to chant. I told them, I'm going to chant while you guys do this, and I was chanting through some of it to calm myself and center myself, and that did help me slow down enough that I would actually absorb the meds, and we went out. What was really sort of freaky to me is that when I came to, normally you come to when you're in recovery, and the stupid heart monitor won't stop going off. You come to when you're in recovery, and you're gently woken up, and you're in a different place where you started, and all that other stuff. However, I'm just going to breathe for a quick second and see if this heart monitor slows down a little bit. Okay, when I woke up, the mask was still on my face because they had just pulled the breathing tube out of my throat, and they were on my face, but I didn't know that. And I actually, my brain thought that I had woken up during the surgery, and I immediately went into full freak out mode, and apparently I was flailing my body, and I was having a complete freak out, and they were having to hold me down and calm me down and tell me that the surgery was over and I was fine, and when it was done, we were just still in the OR. You don't expect to wake up in the same place, in the same position that you left, and that's where I was. So I thought I was waking up during the procedure, not in the soft comfort of the recovery room with a gentle nurse over me gently saying, "Get up, Justin." So that was a little bit of a rude awakening, but again, they had to wake me up that way because I think of the breathing apparatus had to be taken out, so that I had to make sure that I could breathe on my own, and that's why I woke up to the mask. But it was very strange waking up in the same place in the same position as I had went down. I was in the recovery until about midnight, until the room opened up in the ICU where I was taken to, and I've been here ever since, and again was taken in by some of the most amazing human beings I have ever got the chance to work with. I finally got the full report from the surgical team on what was taken in the surgery. We don't have the pathology reports yet, but here is the report of what was taken out. So the tumor itself, what was left of it from the 4 rounds of the chemo, basically was about the size of a golf ball of hardened, calcified tumor mass. The chemo and probably a little cannabis helped too, shrunk this thing down from almost 14 centimeters, being larger than my heart, to golf ball size, but still in this chest cavity where it was trying to make room for itself, and it ended up, pushing a lot of things around and impeding a lot of other things. And so there were some other potential things that might have happened in surgery that we were told about. And let me try to adjust here real fast. It's about as much as I can move. And during the surgery, everything that they had to do was contingent upon the tumor, where exactly it was, and exactly what it was impeding against, and how and why. So from what we understand is, in order to take a cancerous tumor out, especially like this, you have to carve a whole perimeter around it so that 360 degrees are covered by healthy tissue. That way, when it goes to pathology, if let's say this is a tumor and they're testing, they take a perimeter that's just about this big and they test every cell up to the end, and there's still cancerous tumors at the end, that means there's no way to know if there is cancerous tumors on the other end of this. So the entire perimeter of what they take out has to be cancer-free. Otherwise, there is still very good chances that there was still cancerous cells that were not removed. They may be dead cells, but there's no guarantee that they were removed. And so that's how and why. Now, the tumor itself was stuck against my heart wall, which they had to remove a pretty good size of, and they repaired that heart wall. It's like the outer casing of the heart with a material called Gore-Tex, which is what we typically find in raincoats and shoes and other things, and I guess you can use it to create a nice protective coating also on your heart. That was one side. The nerve that we were concerned about, which was the one that controls my right diaphragm, it was touching there apparently, or close to it there, but it was not enough that they actually had to worry about removing the nerve. But the nerve did get a little stretched and pulled, and so the damage that was done to the nerve should not be permanent, but it should take some time to bounce back, from what I understand. But the nerve was aggravated. Now, the other three areas, my lungs, which I didn't even realize that, and it didn't really show from the scans, but the top two lobes of my right lung were also impeded. And so they had to remove a piece of my lung from the top lobe and a piece of my lung from the middle lobe. We don't know how much of each, but it wasn't a huge amount. It just was touching both parts. So we scraped that out. Lastly, there was two veins. One of them, the superior vena cava, which is the real main vein, and that's what drains your blood directly back into your heart. We actually had to remove part of that vein and replace it. They had to clip it in two different places, and then they actually, and I didn't even know they were going to have to do this, but they had to use bovine to fix it, which was interesting as a vegan to realize that there's a piece of cow now inside of my body. I didn't know that was even part of the protocol. I guess having to accept that as one of my fallen brethren. But as now part cow, I can't eat cow because that would just make me a cannibal, wouldn't it? So all jokes aside, they were able to fix that safely. The final vein is called the innominate, I believe that's how you pronounce it, vein. Innominate vein is the main vein that drains the left arm. That vein was completely impeded, and that vein had to be removed. And they took out the entire part of that vein that was in danger, and they actually had to clip that vein, meaning now that main vein that drained the left arm is now a useless vein. You'd think, whoa, that's the main vein that drains the left arm, but apparently your body, in all of its amazing wonders, is able to find all kinds of other routes, just like Waze gets you home from traffic, finds all kinds of other routes through the hills to get you home, and that's how it's going to relearn to drain the fluids on this side. But in the meantime, there were specific orders given, and there's signs up in my room: no IV draws, no blood taking, no anything from the left arm, because the arm is still swelling and still has to relearn how to process all that. So that vein is now gone, but as we're told that my body should recover from that, I haven't had the full post, conversation yet as to what that means. But for right now, Most of my body functions, from what I understand, it should come back in time, and the tumor and all of its parameters have been sent to pathology, and that should be back by Friday or so. If they come back and they say it's all clear, then we can begin phase 3, which is rebuild. If they come back and say they found any cancerous tumors on the perimeter, my team is going to probably want to get me back in some sort of chemotherapy for a little bit, which is not ideal, but it is a reality that we want to make sure we cover all bases. So I'm not planning on it or counting on it, and hopefully all is well and we can just move on to rebuilding, because that's going to be a long enough phase as it is. I think that pretty much covers the whole kind of parameter and scope of what it is. Everything else in my blood work, tests, scans have been looking good. The team here has been amazed with my results every day walking in. I've heard the words of wow from several doctors, and seeing how I've been advancing so quickly, and they want to get me the hell out of here so I don't pick up any other infections, which is why they want to get me out of here tomorrow or Friday. Even though it's hard for me to do a lot of things for myself, I'll have my family with me and some help for a few days, and then Mary Lou to take over after that by herself, and we should get there, and we'll open up the visitations more next week when I'm a little more settled at home and have a little more strength to see people. In the meantime, while we finish up our stay here at the hospital, I will most likely be in ICU until they send me home. So I can't have more visitors here anyway. It's a 2-person maximum, and quite frankly, I'm out of energy to talk to more people and explain what's up, which is why you have this video. Now you know everything. Some things you probably didn't want to know, but now you know everything. That's it. I wish you all a wonderful day. I understand that we have a preseason NFL game tonight, so that's cool that that's coming up. You guys enjoy, and I will report back probably again when I have a report from the pathology lab, and I will let you know what we say with that. The meal train link is up. Feel free to click on it. I think there's dates already available for next week, and I don't think I'm missing anything. No. I'm feeling good. I mean, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of discomfort. I had to really get over the fact that I was having people do so many things for me, and after this morning, I really had to let people do everything for me. And I have fully given in that it's okay, and I will come back 100%, actually 110%. Justin 2.0 is right around the corner. So until the pathology reports labs come back, you guys have a wonderful evening and rest of your week. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.